Welcome back, folks, to another glorious episode of Two in the Cooler. We appreciate you guys tuning in, watching on YouTube, listening on all the podcasts app, following and subscribing. Big news right up top. Tomorrow, we are doing yet another WWE live watch party on Twitch. That's right, tomorrow, Friday, February 11th. Join us and Jake and Ben from Schemin' and Dreamin'. We are going to be on Twitch at the handle snackspot_SE. That's the word snack, the word spot, underscore, the letter S, the letter E, live on Twitch. That starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to check it out. Did I win the belt once again last month? Absolutely. Are there challengers this month? There certainly are. Will any of them be able to take it from me? No, of course not. That's just the way it is. But it's a lot of fun. You guys are definitely going to want to check it out. We're going to be watching SmackDown live on Twitch. Again, the handle there is snackspot_SE. The word snack, the word spot, underscore, letter S, letter E. Come check it out. It's going to be a great time. And if you want to continue to support the show, the best way to do that is get yourself some merch. Do us a favor, do yourself a favor, because this merch is top quality. You can find it at teespring.com. That's at snackspot.se/creator/teespring.com. The link is going to be in our Instagram bio and in this episode description. We've got hoodies, long sleeves, t-shirts, we got mugs, we got bucket hats, we got pint glasses, okay? And this is not, this is not that regular merch you're getting out there, okay, folks? I would not cheap you out on this stuff. This is high-quality merchandise. I'm talking tri-blend, folks. That is Target quality merchandise. And again, you can get that at snackspot.se/creator/teespring.com or just hit the link in this show description. Valentine's Day is coming up, folks. All right, and you could, go out for dinner. You could, get them some nice jewelry and stuff. I'm not saying don't do that, but why not try something a little more intimate, a little more personal, okay? And cook for that special someone. And if you're going to cook for them, you're going to need ingredients. And you don't want to bother yourself with running around the grocery store, wandering the aisles, trying to find the right things. Oh, gosh. And God forbid you get all the way home ready to prep up a delicious romantic dinner and you forgot a key ingredient. The good news is you don't have to worry about that when you use Instacart. With Instacart, you can order not just groceries, but some of your favorite products from some of your favorite local stores, and Instacart will deliver it right to your front door in as little as 1 hour. The best part is right now, Two in the Cooler listeners get free delivery on their first order of $10 or more. All you got to do is spend $10 and Instacart will deliver whatever you're looking for right to your front door. It's that easy, folks. Why are you making life harder on yourself? Start using Instacart today. Hit the link in the show description to get yourself that free delivery deal. And if you're interested in advertising on this show or our twin show, Schemin' and Dreamin', email snackspotsports@gmail.com for details on how you can start reaching thousands of listeners in the Buffalo area and beyond. Folks, podcasting, it's blowing up. We all know it, okay? And with that blow up, large companies are starting to get attracted. They want to get in on that advertising cash, okay, folks? Big companies like State Farm, Tropicana, all these guys, and you know something? It makes me mad. It does not make me happy. I get very angry about it, okay? Because it's time for local businesses to start getting a piece of the pie, and the best way, frankly, is to do that with us. So if you're interested in learning more, email us at snackspotsports@gmail.com so you can learn all the benefits of podcast advertising. Xenu, he's a big set. He's into Scientology.
Who's that?
Xenu's he's the god. Well, do they really have a god?
All right, logos are off, so we're live here. So
okay, then we'll save that for Jesus Christ. We'll save that for the Who Would Win then.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, guys. Kyle deep in his research still, just prepping for the show.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, we were just talking about what's his name. I keep
Michael
forgetting
Q. Schmidt.
Sir Michael Q. Schmidt, and he's a part of the show. And I binged it all in one day.
Oh, nice!
I'm grateful, thank you.
And it was. I don't know if I would have done that regular. Like I don't know if I would have binged it. It's a lot to take in all at one time.
I want you to be completely honest, you're let it all out because the fact that people can't say like what they thought of it, I think is a good thing, because it's like I want to inspire different emotions. I want you to feel something you've never felt before.
I just got. My thoughts are pretty straightforward. It was trash. It was garbage. The whole thing was now the first season's really fun, but I like that the second season.
You should say what it's called as well. And
the David Liebe Hart Show. Yeah. I like that the second season has a little bit more of like the overarching narrative to
storyline.
The storyline.
Oh, right. Kyle is he plays a main character.
It's not just bias. I do like that idea, because the first season's it's great, but it's like a vlog.
It was completely improv.
It's totally improv. Yeah.
This one we actually had more time because we knew what we were going to do there, so we had more time to write a script and sort of gauge what people liked about the first season and kind of add on to it in the second time around. So, but yeah, basically what we did was we just got back from LA, us two and three other people, and we're filming the second and third season of our YouTube show, and it was a great time.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
How did David was obviously on Tim and Eric. What?
I just hate this. David stresses me out.
He is probably the hardest to work with. I say that in the best way possible. He's kind of unpredictable. Just how he's going to act a certain day. Like, he could be your best friend one day and then the next day, like, not want anything to do with you. Yeah. But you just got to learn how to work with people like that.
Yeah, but he is like one of the bigger like side characters of Tim and Eric. Like, he appears probably the most, if not maybe Tennessee Luke.
No, David
probably
for
David
sure.
More? Okay.
The three biggest side characters from Tim and Eric were David Liebe Hart, James Quall, and Ron Oster.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
And
a bit of Richard Dunn when he was on it.
Yes, Richard Dunn for sure.
He's no longer alive, unfortunately.
Nobody knows where James Quall is, as far as I know.
Yeah.
And Ron Oster never responded to any of my messages. I
want to meet that dad.
I know. But all the other actors we have in the show were around for at least one season. Tim and Eric had 5 seasons, so essentially the show is just making a sketch comedy show based upon the side characters of Tim and Eric.
Yes. And it is it's weird. I'm having hard contextualizing it now because I never really watched Tim and Eric, but I recognize David from that and stuff. But I guess like this is such an obvious question, but I have to know how the fuck you got in touch with these guys.
Absolutely. All right. So the time of year was September 2019.
Best time of the year. Always great.
Yeah.
And I had tickets to go see David Liebe Hart on tour. Back when he was still touring before COVID or anything happened. And so I was going to go with my friend Taylor Rondinell, but he had to back out because he had something else going on that day. So I was like, who else who knows who this person is? Who else knows David Liebe Hart? So then I hit up my friend Matt, who ended up going on it. So I was like, hey, you want to come with me? Like, tickets are only $30, VIP tickets. So I was like, yeah, okay. And then we went to the show. Very quickly, we turned from being audience members to making his Tinder account, keeping in charge of the stand when he went to go to his bathroom runs. And then he would just like leave. Like, he had like a stand where he was signing things and he would just leave and we would like follow him out. And then that was when Matt actually has a video of me talking to him, like our first conversation. We're sitting outside of the venue and he's just telling me all these things that at the time, I was believing all of it, but as you get to know David more, you realize that you can't really gauge what he's saying is true or not.
Whether or not he's actually actively lying, or if he's like doesn't know that he's lying.
Yeah, so it's like I was like eating it all up because obviously I was starstruck too, and then from that I met his manager.
Wait, you also made him a Tinder when you first met him.
Yes, yeah, we did make him a Tinder and all that sort of stuff, and then kind of met his manager from that experience. Got his manager's contact information, and then he said, "Send me some stuff that you have made in school, and then we can talk from there." And then I went home, did that. And then he said, like, why don't you come around next summer and you can, like, help me out with some stuff? And I was like, absolutely. So then summer 2020, we head to L.A., and it was just me and Chris at the time. And this internship turned out to be only once a week, and we were there for 2 months. So we ended up having a lot more free time than we anticipated. I thought it was going to be just something every day. But it's like, yeah, we have a lot more free time. But then we also realized we had a lot more access to David because nobody was doing anything because COVID had shut everything down. So, I mean, it came to the point where we were like debating whether or not to even go, because it's like, do we do it? It turned out to be a blessing in disguise because all these actors weren't doing anything because of COVID. So we got to work with them. And yeah, we kind of just had them over a couple times, ended up filming some skits, kind of realized what this was turning into towards the end. And then I kind of put it all together, and that's how that happened. And then garnered a positive response between our friends and stuff. And then we went around and did it again.
These are the most fascinating people that I've ever, like, watching the show. It's like there were parts that were really funny, but there were a lot of parts where I was like, this is so curious.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We met Tennessee through David. David
Okay.
David was our connection to Tennessee. And then Chris found Michael. He was the easiest. He would just go on his Facebook and
Was
message
he
him.
on Tim and Eric too?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
He just appears in random skits.
Gotcha.
Most of them, sometimes they just have like a second where they're just like, and they make a face or something.
Oh yeah, I do love that.
And
shit.
his thing is that he doesn't wear clothes.
Yeah.
Even in Tim and Eric. So it's like, that's his thing when he was acting, is he acts naked.
Now, do you think, because you were just telling us that he was the troll in Harry Potter and the
Yes.
Sorcerer's Stone.
Well, he was the model for the
he was
troll.
the model for the troll.
See, that was the first thing I said. Is like, yeah. Well, first we started quoting it. There's a
Yeah.
troll.
He's the troll in the
Yeah,
dungeon.
he is the troll in the
troll
dungeon that ends up
based on him.
in the woman's bathroom.
Okay, because I was wondering if. Do you think? Oh God, this is gonna be. But I was okay. So he was probably never actually on set of Sorcerer's Stone.
I don't
because that would be
know.
very curious. I wonder if seeing him naked is what made J.K. Rowling transphobic. If that had something to do with it. Because he's got a very interesting body. And you guys play it fucking close. Like, there are times when his penis is right there. I don't know, man.
Well, it actually was a lot better this time around because it actually wasn't.
His penis, that is.
Yes, it actually was like
Actually.
normal this time. The first time
penis was normal? Or are you
yeah,
just
no,
talking
the
about
penis
treating
was
him?
normal.
Okay.
The first time we had him, and he stripped in our apartment and everything.
Now, careful with your phone, Kyle, because they'll be able to see the screen on
Oh,
the camera.
No, it's good. I wanted to show a picture if that's all right.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This is Michael Cushing. Well, let me get a naked photo first. That's not naked. Like,
There you go.
yeah,
Yeah.
like that's the idea. But I just want to add, this man has a gem of a smile. Look at those choppers.
I was also telling him
Those
that
pearly whites.
once you get past the
He's quite
The nudity.
Quite
Yeah.
the charming guy.
and so yeah, basically the first time we had him over, he stripped.
The first time he came over, were you aware that he owned, like, the first contact
Yeah.
you had with him, you were aware that he was going to be getting naked?
I was aware of that, but I wasn't aware that he couldn't walk. Like, he couldn't like walk on his own. He walks with a walker, and he's like, he can't like get up like stairs and stuff. So it's like the script, I had him like dancing and stuff in front of the green screen, and that didn't work.
Yeah.
So it's just like we were just gonna do whatever we could with him, and so he strips, and his penis is distorted, like bloody, distorted, and like leaking of discharge, and
Thanks,
it's getting
was not there for
all
that.
over the green screen, like below it, and like what he was sitting on and everything.
I like that you told me that
Did you
after I
address
handled
this
the
as
green screen.
Did you address this as a concern, like immediately?
Well, it was just me and Chris, and it was just our communication between each other was just exchanging just like looks of like just got to go along with it. And there was one point where he was sitting on the couch and he was like, "Put the camera on me. I'm going to do something funny." And we're like, "Okay." He brought a Trump mask, so we're like, "Oh," and he's going to put on the Trump mask and do like some like Trump impersonation or something like that. And I start recording. He puts on his Trump mask, and then he just starts diddling away with the Trump mask on. And now I have a 2 minute and 15-second cursed video of just a man with a Trump mask, like just playing with it.
That particular man is the thing. He's a very interesting body type.
Have you
You
posted
gotta
this
see. You gotta
to
see him.
any
You gotta
porn
see what this
sites?
guy looks like naked. 'Cause it's crazy.
I am just in shock of
Yeah.
and like we had you got here at we had a good amount of conversation before we started the show. Even once we all sat down before we started recording, like there was conversation going on, and like as somebody who's never met you, I was like, oh my god, like I have to just sit here. The first 8 minutes of the show, I didn't say a word. And, like I just want to consume the stories that are coming out of all of this stuff that you do. I know we're still early on, but I cannot wait to continue and sit here quietly and just hear whatever the fuck goes on and whatever is going. I don't know. I don't know where this is going to continue to go, but please just keep talking.
Yeah, I think Michael, he's gotten better. He was much more enjoyable to be around this time.
Yeah. He's a nice guy. He's just a freak.
So
You can move that closer.
Yeah,
to you, Kyle.
but that's his thing, though, right?
It is his thing.
It's his thing. Like,
and
I'm just gonna get
it's not
naked.
like he hides it
Yeah.
or is just puts it upon you.
Yeah, he's
Like-
not Weinstein. He's
Yeah.
just letting you know.
Hey,
Yeah,
just
exactly.
my thing is I'm gonna not have clothes on.
Yeah, no, it doesn't hide or anything. His thing is his pump. So, because he can't get hard by himself anymore, so he has this pump, which is this little contraption. It's plastic, about this long, and it has an air pump that leads from it, and you pump it, and basically what it does is
that you pull.
it inflates the penis. And
Tell us more, doctor.
and we all took a turn with the pump, and Matt.
How did you wash it between, dude?
No.
What?
We did.
No.
We took a turn pumping it for him.
Oh, so
No.
Which is
I did not put it on myself. No.
I don't know.
I wasn't gonna say anything. I'm like, listen, man, these guys are just living. I'm not gonna step in.
No. We all
But
took a turn pumping him.
I don't know if that's better.
yeah, I don't know if that's better either.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with better.
Well, okay.
Not by a lot, but it is better than just passing it around. Yeah.
It's sort of like a Dutch rudder, where it's we aid in the masturbation rather than do the it's you grab someone's hand.
I almost asked what a Dutch rudder was, but I'm not gonna. We're gonna pass that.
We're gonna go back to it. It's
No,
We'll get back. No, we will get. Emily, please write down Dutch rudder so we remember to go back. Another question that I just have to get out of the way.
Yeah.
So Tennessee Luke, I mean, obviously we could talk about him a lot, but one thing that he references is his inventions. And I went on his website and I couldn't decipher exactly what his invention or inventions were. Do you know what they are?
So
I could add the pool one.
Tennessee.
The pool one is the one that I saw, but also his website, it's just downloadable PDFs. You can't click on it and go to another page. I was like, I'm not downloading a PDF from this guy.
Yeah.
Tennessee is the one cast member, because we've worked with him both times, that I genuinely consider a friend.
Oh, I love him.
Tennessee he's a great guy to hang out with. He is dead set on the fact that he can control the weather.
Have you ever seen him do it?
Not directly.
No.
Something will happen, and then he will use the weather change as leverage for his argument. That happened because you did this earlier, and you have no other choice but to agree with him. It's I didn't do my dishes today, and it's well, that's why it's raining.
Yeah.
Wait, so
It's like the objective correlative, if you're familiar with film analysis.
but so
I don't know who it applies to, though.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Whoever he feels like, apparently.
It's a very egoist approach.
He got it from his dad.
His dad could control.
His
See,
dad could
that's
control
a
it.
thing that, to me, seems like a thing that a dad would do. As a child, oh, you didn't get up and do your chores this morning? That's why it's raining out.
That is a heartbreaking take on it, honestly, but that sounds accurate.
What do you mean? That's not. I don't think that's sad at all.
No. A dad doing that, sure, that can be a parenting tool. But for Tennessee to now be, I mean, he's in his 70s or something, right?
He's about almost 80.
To now still believe that. That's tear-jerking.
That's like emotional manipulation.
Exactly.
It's oh, you know that school shooting? That's because you didn't eat your peas today.
Yeah, that's some Westminster or Baptist church.
Yeah, but again, don't know this guy. So then, he really like you couldn't convince him otherwise. Like he would swear by it, like to the grave that he controlled.
It would just get to the point where it's like
it's not even worth having the argument.
He would just not even like talk about it. He would just be like, he would end up changing the subject somehow. It's like, well, you don't know, I do. Kind of like, and then, but he was always really cool to talk about other things. Like he was always down for smoking weed. He was always down for like partying. Just to go to the beach. Like
just
he
do
was.
anything.
Yeah, no, he was great.
So back to the inventions thing though, because we got a little bit off topic.
Yeah.
Where were you going with a pool involved?
I can explain that. Yeah, please do.
So I filmed him like talking about it and like doing videos and blah blah blah. So it's essentially for training for if you want to like play pool professionally. It's like a marker system.
Oh, we're talking pool.
Yeah,
like shooting pool. I thought you were talking about like he invented a new version of an above ground pool or something.
There's like a little thing of paper for each like number ball, and then there's like the cue ball, and then there's the object ball, then where you want the ball to land, and you just basically mark everything, and then you shoot the ball. Say you miss it, you just put everything back, and you just keep doing that one move until you perfect it. So the whole idea is like training.
Is that an invention?
No.
They're not like patents or anything.
He wants to.
He has ideas and he wants to sell a patent for millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's like little just pieces of paper. I'm like,
so he just wants to train people in pool.
No, he wants to create a system for people to use to train themselves.
Yeah, so he wants to create the P90X of pool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which the P90X in this case is like very small tabs.
A piece of paper.
Now, ideally, this could be very lucrative if he made it like an electronic pool table.
So yes, absolutely.
And then it's like it does it for you. You don't have to have all these little fucking pieces of paper and mark it.
Yeah. That's...
Because you could just do that yourself.
Man, I never would have guessed that that's what it was. But
he's very vocal about these inventions. So right. He's a weekly cast member on the Ding Dong Show, which is it's a Hollywood podcast show that normally took place at the Comedy Store.
What's his name?
Don Barris. It's hosted by Don Barris.
He was like buddies with Jimmy Kimmel when he was like on a show.
And the 2 weeks we were there, we were on the show with him in like the background and stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And each time we got to do it, it's like there's like a performance section of the show, and he always does his famous song "Baby I Got a Gun."
Which I've heard a lot about. I don't know it, but I've heard it's been spoken about.
It's
a good like Western, outlaw Western song. Yeah,
it grew on me. I heard the music video is fucking insane though.
The extended one, There's like a 7-8 minute version where he's just
the song's already like 6 minutes.
Just these women grinding on him.
Oh yeah.
But the Ding Dong Show actually made like a remastered version of the song that I'm going to use for the second Family Affair.
Nice.
It's like much shorter. It has like backup singers and stuff.
Okay.
So it's
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of these guys. It's interesting to watch because most of them have been out there for like quite a while,
since before. I remember discovering David Liebe Hart when I was 7. So
really?
I mean, way too young.
way too young. Tim and Eric? Or?
Yeah, no, I watched Tim and Eric when it was brand new. Like first season came out in early 2007, so it was like I was watching it like staying up, after my parents went to sleep, and I would watch Adult Swim. That was just like was the thrill as a kid. Everybody obviously knew like Futurama, Family Guy, all that stuff. That was Robot Chicken, all of it. But then you'd stay up a little later past that, and then the really weird stuff would come on, and something about Tim and Eric was like scary to me. Like just like seeing that as like a kid, it was like
these are real people.
God.
Yeah, this is real life.
Just like the editing style, but it like drew me to it, I guess, because it was like scary, but I wanted to see more. And
it's a show where you literally, especially because based on the people that they use, you literally have no idea what the next frame is going to look like.
Oh yeah. And obviously, I grew up thinking David Liebe Hart was an actor. Like his character in the show was completely fabricated. And then, like, as I got older and still watched it, I sort of, was like, I don't know if it's fabricated. And then when I met him, I was like, oh, no, it's completely not.
Oh, yeah.
This is him.
They just, put him on camera.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing. A lot of these actors, it's like, they don't even need to, perform sometimes. They're just so eccentric that they're interesting to watch, talk about things.
And David was the best with that. David, I have to say, is the most talented improv person.
Because you put him on camera and you're like, just talk or sing a song or something, just do something. And he's just like, this Nicky Gibbs, he's a racist. He's the founder of the Christian Science Church, and he doesn't like black people.
He's very good.
Yeah,
he's very good with just coming with things on the spot.
Yeah,
and the other people you put on the camera, and it's like they don't know what to say unless you give them lines.
Right.
But David's really good at just like, we don't have to write anything for you.
Well, it's like there's always a thought in his head.
Yes.
So how much direction do you actually give him then?
So we
And a lot
sort
of trauma that he needs to get out.
and like his like,
which is a big part of always having a thought in your head.
Yeah, I guess so.
and like his like skit stuff, where we'd like in front of the green screen, almost no direction. Just kind of like give him the idea of what this needs to accomplish and let you do your thing. How the season had more storyline, I actually wrote him like lines of dialogue for like the storyline parts. And basically, I would feed him the line of dialogue, and then just take whatever he said back. So usually, most of the time, it was somewhat similar to what I said to him. Other times, wasn't even close, but sometimes makes it funny.
Yeah.
So it was really cool in the sense where we were just doing point and shoot, like put the camera on, because when I say the line, David's going to forget it in 3 seconds. So it's like I say the line, you say it back instantly, and then. Yeah. Hopefully it's somewhat close. And I think it worked out.
Yeah, I mean, you got what you needed. And even though it's one of those things where even if it comes across like really like weird and nonsensical, it fits the style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly. Got a lot of behind the scenes footage with him.
I had a question about this. Like, how much just insane footage do you have for all of these people?
So we went with the 5th edition. His name is Josh. And he was essentially, other than finances, because he was kind of like keeping track of all the finances, his job was kind of to just film when we weren't filming, just to like get whatever. And I have watched like most of it already by now, and I did not realize how much he was filming.
Oh, really?
Like there was so much more. Yeah, there's so much more than I thought there was.
Which is a shame because I feel like we should have filmed even more than we already did, like in the car, like me or Matt, because like that car ride to Death Valley. I've never been so close to offing myself.
I have never been played more damage control in my life. Because, like, I could tell you and Matt were, like... I didn't know Matt.
Oh, Matt was...
Matt is... Okay, so he had just, like, lost, like, $200 or something. Yeah,
like,
to,
he ordered a package, and UPS threw away his package, so he was, like, flipping out.
And David was just, like...
mansplaining.
Trying to put his 2 cents in so hard.
Yeah, he was like...
No, you gotta do... You gotta call up this number, and Matt's just, like... He's like, I know. And then, like...
You could tell he's seething, like, ready to explode. And I kept saying, like, David, maybe Matt just... He doesn't need to talk right now. He's a little bit upset. Like, he doesn't need your advice.
I'm sure that helps, too, right? Yeah, that probably calmed him down.
And then David would just be like... He would keep... Because, like, he would just every 5 minutes be like, Matt, here's what you gotta do.
He thinks cyclically, I think. Where it's just, like, his thoughts always... come back to...
He's a goldfish of a man.
Yeah.
Or when he, like, backseat drove the entire time.
Oh, yeah. No, it's... But essentially, what we did the last day of filming, we had to go to Death Valley. And there was a reason for that being the last
4.5 hours away.
4.5 hour drive with David. And it was the last day of filming because we knew this was probably going to be the worst day of filming. So it's like... And he probably wasn't going to want to do much more after that, which he didn't. And we went to Death Valley, he's complaining the entire time.
Can I just add some context?
Yeah.
So we were supposed to get him at, like, 11 or whatever the time was. So he was, like, we went up to, like, you or Chris, went up to get him and spent an hour and a half trying to get him to come downstairs. So, like, I'm sitting in the car for, like, an hour and a half, like, what the fuck's going on? And then when David actually came down, he has 2 phones, by the way, he has 2 cell phones.
Obviously, he's a very important man.
I guess so. And immediately when he gets in the car, he starts screaming about, like, his rent receipt not coming in. And he needs, like, his rent receipt, and he's like, I need someone's phone. I need to call rent receipt. I'm like, we've been waiting for you for, like, an hour and a half. Like, why don't you have either of your 2 phones? It's like, oh, I forgot it upstairs. I'm like, if you care this much about it immediately when you get in the car, why don't you have your phone on you?
We were rushing him, though. That's why I forgot it.
But I feel like he also had his second phone in his bag and just didn't want to use it. So, like, I let him use my phone. He's like, all right, now talk to him. I'm like, I'm not fucking talking to these people. Dude, fight your own battles.
He gives me his phone to call people a lot, and I just...
He's very entitled about it,
I hate to say it, but...
It's very annoying.
It's more
like, you have to do this for me.
Right.
I just put the phone up to my ear and pretend like I'm talking to somebody.
It's so funny.
It pleases him, because what he's asking me to do is bitch out the landlord. Mm-hmm. Like, for something...
frequently? Like, he's
no. It's like, he's like, you need to call my landlord's boss and tell them that I'm going to sue them for elderly abuse. And I'm like, all right. I'll put the phone in my ear, and it's like, David's very upset. Like, you're about to get your asses sued. And he's like, and then he's like, thank you.
Yeah, he's like, fuck yeah. He's fired up by it. He's like, nice job.
But you can tell, too, like, the way he processes information. Like, there's something not right, because he'll keep bringing it up almost like impulsively.
Yeah.
And he keeps like repeating himself like over and over again, like over the course of several hours.
It feels like a form of anxiety.
It absolutely 100% does. So I do like very much like pity him in that sense, where there's something wrong that he needs some help with, but it's like it's stressful to kind of deal
One
with
thing
it,
that
so.
was more prevalent than ever though was he has moments of lucidity. Like he has like random moments where he almost like understands things like at a higher level.
Yeah.
And it goes away fast, but like there's moments where it's just like, did you just say that? Like that was actually smart.
Which I wonder if if he's like parroting something he heard, or if like he actually like has a moment where he has like clear thoughts. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know. It's really
which makes me think he wasn't always like this. Like it has just gotten progressively worse.
Yeah, right. Which like a great way of describing this is his apartment, which is like just like gone downhill.
Yeah,
like,
well, it's pretty prevalent in
see
the show.
Yeah, so basically for season 2, what we did is we rented out an Airbnb for his new house.
Nice.
So like we didn't have to film in his apartment.
Yeah.
Because there's just no room in there. So we got a separate house for it.
And what you saw wasn't bad. Like it got worse. Like his shower is full of garbage. Like you can't shower in it. His kitchen's full of rotting food in and outside the fridge, all over the place. There's garbage everywhere, piles of boxes everywhere. His bed is a mattress on the floor.
Yeah.
It's pretty rough. And there's like cockroaches and...
But yeah, but what we were saying about Death Valley, though, we finally get to Death Valley, and it's sunset. Yes. Because of like and we have to like film, so we had to like film really fast, like in the sunset. And then off to Las Vegas we went from there because it was like the last day. So like, why don't we just go to Vegas? We're gonna take David to Heart Attack Grill, which by the way was an amazing place. Like obviously you go there for the gimmick. Do you know about Heart Attack Grill?
No.
Oh, okay.
And so it's this place in Vegas where they are famous for making the most unhealthy food on the planet.
That sounds unbelievable.
And so their burgers are called the bypass burgers, and you can get up to a octuple bypass, which is 8 patties, and then you can add like 50 slices of bacon on it and stuff like that. All their meats are grilled in lard or fried in lard.
Oh shit.
The flatliner fries are very good, and then all their butterfat milkshakes. And basically, what you do when you get in there, you have to dress in a hospital gown. And if you don't finish your meal, you get spanked by the nurses. It's kind of like a glorified Hooters, I guess you could say.
Gotcha.
And
or like a Dick's.
Like Dick's Last Resort, yeah.
And I got the quadruple bypass, so 4 burgers, 25 slices of bacon, the flatliner fries, and I got an IV of wine. So like they wheeled over like the bag, and I had to drink a bottle of wine out of an IV.
Oh, they didn't actually run because they do that, and it's always sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah, and it doesn't end well ever.
David joined us to that experience, and he was just like, I was like, David, just try to enjoy yourself. Before we even got there though, he forgot his gloves, like his COVID gloves.
Yeah.
And he was freaking out, and he was like, "I'm not going in there unless I have my gloves."
Which, by the way, I think he just reuses the same gloves, so I think he defeats the purpose.
Oh no, he doesn't. He doesn't take any protocols for anything. He decides one thing.
Yeah.
That's an issue, and then it becomes the biggest issue.
Yeah.
But we got into the thing, and he goes up to the lady, and he's like, "Do you have any gloves?" And she's like, "No." And then he turns around and sprints out the door. This is the only time throughout the whole trip where I am like fuming at David. Like, I just look at the rest of them, and I'm like, just get a table. I'll be back. And then I just like chase him down the strip. And luckily the 4th place he went into had gloves. So after he got his gloves, then he came right back in. And so we all ate our meal, except for David, who it says on the menu, no takeout. Like you're not allowed to take out your food. You got to either finish or get spanked. He essentially made the waitress get him takeout, like a takeout box.
Would you call him a Karen?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. So then that was his excuse, like to not get spanked. He's like, "Oh no, I'm eating this later. Like I followed the rules." And we're just like, we weren't even gonna like debate that. But our thing was like, "Oh, okay, we'll all take an extra spank for you, David." So it's like we were all getting spanked anyway because none of us finished our thing, and so it's like we'll each take one more. And he was like, "Oh, thank you. Like, I'm so grateful." And then, like, I did my 3 spanks. They were, like, fun. They're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, one more spank for David. And then she whips out this, really thick, much smaller, like, paddle that's, like, leather and, like, rubber and stuff like that, and whips it. I felt like I got actually whipped. Like, it hurt like hell. And then David's like, one more. And I'm like, no, you fucking like ungrateful. Like, are you kidding me?
You covered his ass. And he demands you get punished more.
It sounds par for the course based on everything you've said about
It's
it.
like you cover for him for a crime, then he just turns good. He did it.
No, that's like I cover for him for a crime, and then he says, oh, and he also did this.
Oh, man. I mean, it definitely sounds like a lot, but when you mentioned, towards the end, like, that was the only time you really got, like, overly frustrated with him.
I feel like I'm good at, like, easing the situation. Yeah. I know, like, talk to him.
Well, I hated him from the first day.
To me, it seems like a combination of two things. Like, one, it seems like you have a very good grasp of, like, this is what it is. Mm-hmm. We're here shooting. Like, we have to keep things level. Yeah. So if he's going to be up here, we have to remain down here so that we can meet in the middle and get this done.
Over the time, I felt like I start to grasp how he was going to react to things.
It also feels though
you're
that
very good at dealing with them.
It also feels though that there is a little bit of like, this is miserable but awesome at the same time.
Absolutely. That was like, I mean, the whole trip was awesome. It was an awesome trip. It always is. You just kind of sacrifice like those moments where it's just like frustrating, because at the end what we're doing is I love doing it. Mm-hmm. It's like I love making this show. I still can't believe I'm doing this with these people. So it's like, you gotta kind of throw those moments where you don't want to be there and just like kind of forget about them and just remember the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Also, for some more David slander, because I want to bitch more about him. The first day was really what set me off, because we went over. Yeah, the first day we went over to his place, and I saw his place. I'm like, oh wow, this is really a shame how disgusting it is. So we're like, oh, we'll help out. So we like took out his garbage and stuff.
Yeah.
And we're like, great, okay. So then we leave. Immediately, David calls Ryan in the car. We're sitting in the car outside his apartment.
You took the trash out for him.
We took the trash out for him.
Yes.
And he calls us, and he's like, your friends are ungrateful. They left trash all over the place, and they threw out my groceries. And he starts like complaining. I'm like, you ungrateful piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I think he took an opportunity to ask
to try and get you to buy him groceries.
To take out his trash and then frame them
for
as like, oh, you threw out my groceries, now you owe me groceries.
Yeah, maybe that was his groceries that they bought like 5 years ago, because it was literally a bag of garbage and probably rotting. I don't want to dig through it because it was like literally just trash.
The thing about it though is like he'll say these things, but then like you don't really have to follow through with it.
Yeah.
Like it's
like faking a phone call.
Yeah.
But he will bring it up every time.
He will bring it up, and you just got to know how to like kind of curve it.
Yeah, diffuse it.
Yeah.
Walk around
He just wants to feel heard.
I guess
or like
so.
things are being addressed.
And going with the anxiety thing too, I've noticed it where he will bring it up in the middle of like a scene, for example, or like we're shooting, or like we're talking. He'll be like, and put those waters in a bag and eat those waters for later. Save those waters for me. And we're like, okay, we already said yes 10 times already that we'd do it, and he keeps bringing it up until it's done.
Oh yeah, so it's like, so we have him for like filming on a set, and then he'll have a request like he wants like his bag or something in a certain place, and it's there. We put it there for him, and then he'll always just be like, make sure like it's still there, like.
Yeah, it's like a very extreme like form of anxiety.
Well, it seems like it's OCD is what it is, and it.
I'd like to get a professional medical diagnosis on David Liebe Hart.
That would be.
I think
I'd be interested to see what would come of that.
I'm leaning OCD because anxiety is actually a symptom of OCD, and you kind of like. OCD isn't always cleanliness, right? Like a lot of people picture these people live in the cleanest. Sometimes it's actually the opposite. Because that place is where they can finally take a breath. So it's just everything's everywhere. But anytime they're doing anything else, it's like a constant need for things to constantly go exactly the way they thought they would.
That actually makes.
It makes a lot
ton of sense.
It's more of a routine than like a hygiene thing.
As somebody who's very
that's such a common misconception
with things like that, and somewhat have self-diagnosed myself into a position of that because like I don't know what's going through his head, but it sounds like that's kind of the case to me.
Yeah.
So when you guys go out to Los Angeles, shifting a little bit, and David is like one of the guys, and Sir Michael Q Schmidt, when they are kind of the guys that you are interacting with the most, that didn't burn you on LA or anything in the slightest. It doesn't seem.
No, not at all.
No, you mean like discourage us from like going there? Like,
yeah, I don't know about that, but just maybe be like,
make
wow,
you
this place is weird.
Yeah.
I feel like
weird,
my
honestly.
personality with this is like the fact that the weirder like my interactions are with people, I feel like makes it more of a unique experience, and I prefer that more than just going on like a trip and just doing like normal trip things. I'd rather have like a really weird interaction with somebody that lasts. Like the day before we went to Las Vegas, we had like a rap party almost, and it was completely impromptu. Denise, who was another one of the actors on it,
great.
She was like, she's great. She was like, why don't you guys like come over? We'll watch season 1. We'll have like a rap party. And then we happened to be with a bunch of extras that day, and she was like, "Bring them all!"
Yeah, that was so fun. Yeah.
And there was like 20 people in this small ass house, and we were just
it was
like
technically
partying it
a
up.
trailer park.
Yeah,
but it was like a really nice her and Michael live in the same trailer park, and his like trailer isn't like bad. It's not like disgusting really. It's just like it's small, whatever. But hers was almost like a little like ranch. It was like really cute.
Oh no, hers was very nice.
It was very nice. And it was in the back, so she had like a wall. So it was like she had like the back corner of the trailer park. It was like the bougie part.
And we had a bunch of like extras that were like our people our age. Corey McRae was actually one of them.
Corey McRae, yeah, from Fredonia. Yeah, if you know him.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
I don't know if you remember him or not.
No, now I do.
Or Jordan Kucharski. He wasn't at the party, but he was an extra in it. He was a Fredonia guy as well.
It was really cool. It felt like that was like the first time where it's like I wasn't just around these like the older guys. I was around like actually like other people my age that were like trying to do the same thing.
And they were all chill too.
They were all great.
Yeah.
I'm excited to do more with them in the future, potentially.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just absorbing so much of this information. It was.
While we have this moment of silence, I'll chug this water bottle. See how quick I can do it.
We have a new.
1, 2.
Oh, that sounds great.
It does.
5, 6. Just under 6. We'll give them just under 6.
That was great.
Couple new Tim and Eric actors coming up. Sire James, who was in a sexual romance on Tim and Eric. He was amazing.
He's a gem.
I think he's like a Rick James Barry White mix. We asked him what I did for. I was like, just write a song, and then like you're gonna just sing it in front of the green screen. And not only did he write a song, he recorded an instrumental for it, burned it on a CD, and then played it for us like while he was singing the song in front of the green screen. And it sounds like a real song. It's going to be one of the best parts, I think. And Sire was great. He said he was going to buy us dinner the second day. He didn't realize he was going to pay for our food for the next 4 days.
Oh wow!
But Sire was awesome.
He's a gem. Yeah.
And we might be. This is a new intro for you, but I was contacted by Palmer Scott, who was the Sit On You guy. And he wants to do something, so that might be season 3 coming up. So
he's great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's actually he appears a lot in random skits too. Like maybe as much as Tennessee Luke, or not as
much, but
because Tennessee's in Beef House too, which is pretty big.
But yeah, Palmer Scott.
You're fully ingrained in this world now. That's got to be so weird, man. Watching it from 2007 to now.
So
this is crazy.
When Sire came over for the first time, it was really cool because he already knew who I was. Because like Denise had they've told me about him, so it's like they've told him about me and stuff. So it's like, how close am I to like being known by Tim and Eric? Is the question. You know what I mean?
How often do you think about that? Because
every day, every day. It was it was definitely a meme for the trip. Like, getting Tim and Eric to notice us and stuff.
Yeah, like
because that's a whole nother level. Because like they are like genuinely like completely famous. They're like they're self-made.
I mean, they have like 5 TV shows, like several movies. They go on tour.
They're the masterminds behind all of this. Yeah, so it's like
they're all over. And like Tim and Eric both appear in like random things. Like as actors. Like Eric was in The Office. I don't know if you knew that. He was one of Dwight's cousins.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
Tim was in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Tim was in Bridesmaids.
He's in Bridesmaids. Yeah. He's like side characters in all these random like comedy romances.
Yeah, I like and I've never really watched their show, but but seeing them in other stuff and like listening to them on podcasts and things. The thing I really appreciate about them is they're doing this, the kind of comedy, it's super strange. Yeah. I'm sure you could describe it in a much more nuanced way, but
postmodern absurdism.
There you go.
That's exactly what it is.
But it's some people might watch that and think, okay, these guys are just being goofy, but they take that shit so seriously.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. And I remember I saw a video on YouTube. The thumbnail was a picture of Tim Heidecker, and the video was called "The Father of Modern Comedy." And I didn't watch it yet, but it was like a video essay, yeah. And I just it makes me think that like this type of stuff that we make and the type of stuff that they make, it's only going to become more popular and more acceptable, I think.
You know who said? Fuck, never mind. I'm not gonna say. But I was saying that I agree.
Yeah, because it was like their show in 2007 was like
yes.
One show, like no one else was doing that at all.
And these things are certainly not to the extent. What did you say was postmodern
absurdism?
They're not so much to this extent, but like look at the most popular sketch show is I Think You Should Leave, which is way more absurd than anything that's been mainstream before. Yeah. Rick and Morty's the most popular cartoon, super absurd.
The mainstream is sort of heading in that direction.
Yeah, and I have a really good way to point this out too, because meme culture is huge, obviously. And, there's that meme, it's like boomer humor is like, oh, my wife. And then, like, millennial humor is like, oh, fuck my life. And then it's like
it rhymed.
Yeah, that did rhyme. Oh, wow. Look at me, I'm a poet and didn't know it. But then it's like Gen Z humor is like a picture of, like,
a horse and it says Jasper.
Jasper, right. It's all absurd.
It's a lowercase m.
And there's no meaning. Yeah, lowercase m. But there's no meaning to it. And that's exactly what Tim and Eric are doing. Yeah. And it's funny because Tim and Eric, they seem to be following, like, Andy Kaufman's path.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I've heard.
You watch them in a lot of interviews. It's like you can.
Their interviews are.
You can get if they're by themselves. Yeah. You'll get like a genuine interview from them. But oh Lord, if Tim and Eric are together in an interview, you are not getting you are in for a ride.
Yeah, like
they're going to fuck with you in one way or another.
Oh yeah, because they method act when they're like in interviews, and like there's like the one like the what's their book?
The Zone Theory.
The Zone Theory, yeah. When they did that Zone Theory interview, they're total assholes the whole time to the interviewer.
Yeah.
And they're just like, you can tell sometimes a couple times they break, and you can actually see them and like smirk and like cover their face, and it's really funny. But like the fans will like ask them questions and they just don't answer it, or they'll just like
that's what makes them so good though, is because they can perfectly like rib off each other.
Yeah.
Like it's
there was this one interview too I saw. I can't find it anywhere on YouTube, but Tim has his eyes closed the entire interview, and I don't know why.
See, that's the
someone brings it up and they're like, Tim, your eyes have been closed this entire interview. Why is that? He's like, well, my father was gay.
What? Yeah, man, it's the kind of funny where it's just like, I can't believe that this is coming out of a person. And, like, and you feel such a strange way. There's almost a relatable thing to it. It's almost like, how is somebody doing like what it feels like to be like what?
And
I'm not explaining it wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Ever since I discovered like that, it's like I was like, okay, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want to make. Yeah. And you go far back even before like they were on TV. Like I watched some of their college projects before, and it is the very, very baseline of the same stuff that they're doing now.
Yeah.
Like they made a cat film festival video where it's just like them just repeating over and over again, like this is going to be a film festival about cats in different ways. They don't describe it at all. It's just like saying it over and over again, and then every now and then it like cuts to like a little girl's like skiing competition, because what they did is they filmed it over like a video they had to, so it would like cut that like it's just like
that's
nonsense.
Funny.
Like
that's funny, yeah.
And they did that in like in the 90s. So it's like.
And there's a couple of other interesting things they do. One, they have the retro look. They have like the VHS kind of look, which is it's really like cheesy, like strange, like or even like early 2000s. Like they love to use like old like keyboards and old like big computers. And then the other thing they do is they'll get the really strangest, weirdest like B actors, like the most eccentric people, and they'll also get all of like the biggest like mainstream, like Paul Rudd.
Yeah. Once they got into season 5, they had like Will Ferrell.
Yeah, Will Ferrell, Paul Rudd.
I feel like
John C. Reilly.
I feel like
obviously,
like the guys you just named though, like those big name actors do have a lot of like weird in them, and they
do.
Yeah.
They do,
That's
and
the
like
beauty of
I think
it.
that's what people don't like realize is like these like mainstream actors are in mainstream movies. I feel like they all have like a way wider sense of humor than what they're known for.
And I feel like they, and I could be completely off on this, but I feel like they do every once in a while like let it come out in bigger movies, and that shit is what everybody finds hysterical. Like those are oftentimes the funniest parts of those movies when they're doing just the most like obscure things that you know maybe weren't set in there to be funny, but when they start doing them, it just is hysterical.
Yeah, and whenever I see these actors, like these big actors in these movies, it's almost like a mark on their forehead. It's like a secret club where it's like, they like this kind of shit too.
Exactly.
Right.
They're also fucking insane weirdos. Like,
yeah,
this is awesome.
like they have to do these things, or they make a ton of money doing these things.
Yeah.
But there's something, they have that thing inside them that maybe they don't even know how to put it out there, but they know that Tim and Eric are the best at actually articulating what it is we all kind of think
like
is really
obviously
fucking funny.
They had like an initial interest to like even end up there.
Yeah.
And
so
and it probably stems, I think what you were getting at, Andrew, is like it stems off of seeing it happen in front of you, right? Like as people around you are kind of acting like this, you just kind of aren't even thinking about it. You just are being like, I don't want to use the word goofy, but goofy. You know what I mean? You're not thinking about like what you're necessarily doing at that point. You're just being a weirdo.
Right. Well, it comes from, interesting, because it comes from a place of comfort.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And
when
when
you're
you see-
watching Tim and Eric and stuff, it's like,
oh my god! It's
And you
such
guys
a-
probably
we're
see
getting
it,
it,
right?
man.
When
That's the thing, though, because some of it's so brain off, but some of it's also very intelligent. Like, so you could
It's
watch it,
so smart.
and you understand nothing you see. You're like, I have to be on drugs. Like, what is this? But then sometimes you watch it, and you're like, oh, I see what they did. They took this joke, and then took it so far that it went full circle, and it's like nonsense, but it's like... It's
like,
it's
you know, the
ingenious.
type of jokes we were doing in there, it's like they're just like so stupid and stuff like that, but they have like a more meaning. Like when you think about it, it's like, oh wait, was he talking about that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
right.
like you don't really know. It's never straightforward.
it's like it's shit that you would only laugh with like your closest friends about
Yes.
if it happened to you guys.
Yes,
And, like-
absolutely.
And you're
It's
putting it
almost
on
like
a bigger stage for
watching
people to enjoy together.
very inside jokes.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like stuff that everybody enjoys together.
Yeah.
Right,
But
but
nobody
it's strange
really,
because you just turn it on and you're watching this 11-minute show, but there's jokes in it that you would only get to most oftentimes in real life if you were hanging out with someone for like 4 or 5 hours, and then you get to this point and they just throw you right into that and assume they trust you enough, I guess, that you are going to be able to catch up and get this. And I think that's a big part of why people like about it. There's something that makes you feel accepted when you're watching this. I mean, obviously, because it's like, because these things are so hard to articulate in your head, and when you see Tim and Eric actually put them on a screen, and that's also why it's so frustrating when people, because there are people out there who say that it is dumb.
I mean, I feel like
like
there's
millions.
They're
most
smooth
people.
brain.
No, it's like I mean, I grew up with that. You know, I was
It
like,
is acquired, though.
what other 7-year-old was watching like Tim and Eric and stuff? I remember going through
Cool
like all
ones.
middle school and high school and stuff, and I was the only one. This was not something I could show like my friends and stuff.
They'd be
And-
like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, no,
do you
I did
do
show
out
it, and
there?"
then it's just like okay.
I tried describing to my mom what Tim and Eric was, and I'm like, I can't have this conversation with you.
It's like when you're showing somebody a video, like staring at him, waiting for him to laugh, and they're just like watching.
But a
this,
lot
and they're
more,
like,
a
"What?"
lot more personal feeling almost.
Yes.
A lot more intimate.
Oh yeah, but I think what they're doing is like masterful. Like in
I think
all
I think what they're
forms.
best at doing. I think
They're
what Tim and
innovative
Eric,
in
what Tim and
comedy.
Eric are the best at doing is they're able to take a personality and just like parody the fuck out of it.
Oh, yeah.
and they're so good at
Dude.
like taking a personality type and just like bringing out all the stereotypical tropes.
Yep.
Like just one
Yeah.
after another, like lining
It's
them up.
very, very meta, very satirical, very political. Some of it's political too, but like a lot of their, like when I say sorry, ooh, that was weird. When I say masterful too, I mean like in every like medium like that they use, like their actors, like I was talking about, they use like the sound effects,
Yes.
like their use of music, their use of editing, special effects, and like all that. Like everything they do is like on point. Their writing, so it's like everything like involved in their show is like. They go above and beyond.
Do you know who their inspiration was?
I mean, aside from Andy Kaufman,
You ever seen Mr. Show?
Oh, of course.
That is like I'm pretty sure what they cite as their main inspiration. Bob and Dave. Bob Odenkirk is the one who discovered Tim and Eric.
Oh,
that's right.
And Bob Odenkirk is like in all of their stuff. Like he's always the voice in all of their fake commercials and stuff.
Mm-hmm. But you can see a lot of similarities, especially because we watched all of Mr. Show, and as it gets later on, it starts looking a lot like Tim and Eric. And it's weird because it's a 90s show, so it has more of like a 90s feel to it, but you can see like the foundations being laid down. And I just thought that was cool. I watched Mr. Show after Tim and Eric, so it was like backtracking the inspiration.
I've actually never seen Mr. Show.
Yeah, it was on HBO in the 90s.
Okay, I do love Bob Odenkirk though.
And David Cross.
Thank God it was though, because that's the only reason they were really to get away with that shit. I was literally listening to a David Cross interview today, and he was talking about working on Mr. Show and saying how they only got one note the whole time they were there
because it was HBO, right?
Yeah.
But specifically HBO in the 90s when they were still really trying to get people to subscribe to premium cable and make it like it wasn't a thing.
We need to see something that you're not going to be able to see on TV.
Exactly, and good on them for realizing that. In order to do that, we need to find very creative people whose stuff won't work on mainstream or on the 3 networks that were around, and just let them do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm. And that's what happened. It was a success for them, and then and I feel like that type of comedy has only blown up ever since.
Yeah, it really has. It's definitely, I think, increased in the past couple of years. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I think, obviously just because, we talked about what Gen Z humor is, meme culture, that certainly accelerated
Probably
it.
TikTok and, like, a lot of that influence.
Because everything's coming so fast at you on those mediums.
And yet
half the time, none of it makes sense, which is, again,
it is blowing up more, but yet it is still by far a niche area of comedy.
Yeah.
Like
and stigmatized in some ways, too.
It is.
Really?
I just feel like people think like, oh, this is like drug-induced humor, or this is like nonsense, and it's like, oh, your humor's stupid.
I feel like most people feel that way, though, but it's like I surround myself with like-minded people.
That's the thing. It's very similar. I mean, it's basically trying to think, but it's basically like political ideology in the 60s. But now it's with comedy.
I'm intrigued.
Like hippie culture and stuff.
Yes.
Right? Like it was just parents being like, you can't grow your hair long.
You can't move your hips like that.
This world ain't for you anymore.
You can't look at the screen and go.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a traditionalism,
and that's why it's going to become obviously. It's all a wheel. It's all spinning wheel.
Close-minded.
Apparently,
the times they are changing.
Next in line,
we're gonna go back to racism.
I heard this from David, but so it's like you don't know whether or not it's true or not.
Oh, right.
But apparently, from David's wherever he heard it from, Tim and Eric are in the process of making a comedy that involves them as teenagers. So I guess if that's a thing, you heard it here first. I don't know.
Yeah, we broke the news.
You guys would be good casting for that, the two of you.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, no, it's like and Chris looks a lot like Eric too.
I thought that's so funny. You look like Tim, like
and then Chris is like taller
blonde,
and like
dirty blonde.
Yeah,
like
no,
brown,
it's
light brown.
And it's it only falls in place as with the 1-syllable name and the 2-syllable name. Bob and David, Tim and Eric. Chris and Ryan, and only
wow.
And Tim's also an asshole.
Maybe a little too much.
Yeah. And Tim's also an asshole. Like,
look at that. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I stepped on that joke at first, Kyle.
No, you're fine. It was a bad joke. It wasn't funny.
I thought it was funny.
Another thing about Tim and Eric, real quick, I want to mention too is their versatility too. With like we were just talking about Tim and Eric, awesome show, great job. Like bedtime stories is like,
it's
like the Twilight Zone. The production value is like, and every story like. Some of them are kind of quirky and like funny, but some of them are kind of like actually creepy.
Like the personality thing, like in the Sauce Boy episode, they play like the gangster like part so stereotypically, and like they're parodying it like a storm, and it's just great.
Yeah, and then something like Beef House is like just a straight up satire of sitcoms.
Yeah,
and like Steve Brule is like I feel like the most like palatable for mainstream people.
Yeah.
Because it's John C. Reilly like playing like a special like newscaster.
I remember seeing an interview that John C. Reilly was in, and like he had to plug his show. Like they asked, they were like, "What's the new show you do?" And he was so quick to being like, "It's called Check It Out with Steve Brule. It's not like your normal show." Like he was so quick. He's like, "It's on really late at night."
He's an Oscar winner or nominee. I don't remember.
Yeah, nominee.
For,
that
Chicago.
Musical.
Chicago.
Yes,
2003.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But I that was before. What was he in before? Like besides Chicago?
I know he was in a lot of random stuff because I would like see him. I'm like, oh, he was in that. I didn't
because he was like on Tim and Eric before like Step Brothers was a thing before all that stuff. So it was like before he was like a big celebrity like he is now.
I guess Chicago.
What was that that Netflix movie that he was in?
John C. Reilly?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe it wasn't a
Walk
Netflix
Hard,
movie.
Dewey Cox. No.
Yeah, that one.
Is it
That's
that
not
one?
a
Yeah.
Netflix movie.
It's not
No,
a Netflix
that came out like
That's
a long.
2007.
Oh, well, I
yeah.
watched it on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a Netflix movie to me.
Yeah.
Good job.
I just never heard of it before it was on Netflix.
Zach Galifianakis, the same thing too. Like before Tim and Eric, he wasn't really as big as he is now.
Right.
And now he's like,
Yep.
in that circle of comedians.
Yeah. But again, like, he can be, off the walls, like,
Oh yeah, no.
obscure, funny.
He is like he's like way more into that than
Yeah.
I feel like some other ones because like the characters because I'm pretty sure he develops like his own characters and stuff. And if you've ever seen like Between Two Ferns and stuff,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's
so
all
good.
him,
And that's hysterical,
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, John C. Reilly. Here we go. I'm gonna do a quick little exegesis of his stuff. Days of Thunder, Hoffa, What's Eating Gilbert Grape,
that?
Boogie Nights, Thin Red Line, Never Been Kissed, Magnolia.
All right, he's definitely
Gangs
a lot
of New
more than I
York.
thought he was then.
Yeah, it's like that's what I'm saying. He's just like in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
and that was all before Chicago. Anger
we sent him
Management.
a DVD of season 1.
Oh,
C.
for real?
Did you ever hear back?
No, we left a little note saying our mission and gave him our email and stuff. And no, I never heard back.
Maybe we got to
'cause you
send him
added
a
a death threat.
Maybe you got to send him a copy of season 2.
I know. It's
Yeah.
we made 70 DVDs for season 1, and I actually sold like 10 of them to people that I never met. So
Wow.
that's a start, I guess. I feel like it can only go up from there. Hopefully it does. But it was nice to actually make like a physical copy and then print out 70 DVDs off my laptop.
Nice.
Like one by one.
Yeah.
I didn't have any like machine that made them all at the same time. It was just like 4 hours each disc to burn, and then like made like the cover art and everything, and then just like numbered them and then distributed them. Oh, and I gave 10 to David, right, to sell by himself and keep the money because he's the star of the show. It's like I mailed him 10 DVDs. It's like, go to the Santa Monica Pier like you always do. Because what he does is he goes to the pier and he brings his puppet and he, works for money there. It's like, go to the pier. Now you got some DVDs. Sell them for $10 a pop, And he was telling me before we got there, he was like, I've been having some trouble selling these DVDs. And I was like, oh, it's just fine. We'll go there and we'll help you sell them. And you can still keep all the money. And then we got there and it's like, David, where are the DVDs? And he's like, well, I told you I had trouble selling them. I gave them to people, and they never gave me the money.
Oh, David.
Which also I don't even know if that's true or not.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
I don't know. He might
There's
have been
somewhere
hiding
in
them.
there's
He might-
somewhere
yeah.
in his house still.
Because
Yeah.
again, you can never
They're under his
never
mattress bed.
believe
Exactly.
anything he says.
Because he might have been like trying to get you to give him more,
He
or
was
might have
asking me. He was like, you think you'd give me more?
He might have sold them. Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's
yeah.
I hope whoever has them is enjoying the content.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Well,
Oh.
while we have a moment, we should get into the Who Would Win of the Week because we cannot forget about it.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll run it. Damn. Sorry.
You look frazzled.
No, I
am.
threw that at you, but there was silence, and it has to be done.
Yeah. Who would win of the week this week? Scientologists versus Jehovah's Witnesses. Good fight. Do you think Mormons would have a better chance against Scientologists than Jehovah's Witnesses?
No.
no.
No, I would go Scientology over Jehovah.
You know what?
Mormons don't drink, also, correct?
Yeah, but you know what? I
As
bet
far
you,
as we know,
I
If you
bet
did Mormon,
Well, I've been to Utah,
you could throw
and it is
Amish in the mix.
hard to find beer.
I feel like the desired matchup is Jehovah's Witnesses and Scientology.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that
I feel like
if,
those would be the two.
Well, is anyone on the Jehovah Witness side
no.
here?
well, okay, let me
Well,
think about this.
I never decide until
We'll
it's
talk
time
it
to
out,
decide. Yeah. I could be swayed
Scientology,
either
we
way.
know that they're insane, and we know that when you really get into that religion, the members of it, they go pretty hard.
Yes. And I feel like Jehovah's Witnesses, they're more. Can you use like archaic? Is that like they're
I would
more
say traditional?
They're more like old-fashioned. I feel like if you were to get into a fight with a Jehovah's Witness, they would resort to more older methods of retaliation rather than Scientologists, who I feel like would contact somebody to get rid of you.
Yes.
Well, so I had that's a big, kind of breaking point in my argument is Jehovah's Witness, very persistent people, right? They to this day, I believe they still go door to door, which is just absolutely insane. They're still on the guerrilla warfare train. They won't give it up. Crazy.
They are very persistent.
Very persistent. Scientologists, though, from what I understand, and it kind of got hinted at twice already, like if you were to, once you are part of the church, I don't think that there's a way out.
Not really.
I really think
it's
that
more of a cult. You're saying?
Yeah, like if you were to get out, if you were to
there are a couple of
publicly
celebrities
say
that have
Tom Cruise,
Leah Remini,
that have
he's still in there.
Well, that have done it, but I feel like to an extent, if you were to leave and try to expose the church, like they would come after you, and not just to give you like a stern talking to.
No,
like they would want you to not do that
which
anymore.
Which makes me wonder how Leah, is it Remini,
I think
Leah Remini, makes me wonder how she was allowed to like make all those like anti-Scientology like documentaries and stuff.
She wasn't like allowed to.
I think two things though.
Of course she wasn't allowed to.
But how did she find allies? I guess.
I think you have to have a protection plan in place almost of like you are well known enough to where people know that you're publicly speaking out against them.
Whereas if
something were to mysteriously happen,
they know where it's coming
easily
from.
traced
like a
back
witness
to.
protection program.
You have to go full public with it, like government conspiracy.
It almost seems like it's like kind of her duty. It's like I'm in a position where like I'm famous enough that if I were to suddenly go missing after talking out about this thing, then we already know who's going to be held directly responsible. So
let them, so if they're going to come, let them come. They're just going to expose themselves. So she kind of put them in a corner.
It's like a checkmate.
But if you're not that person,
no, if you're just like somebody,
I feel like if you're right on that line of you don't have a true following outside of the fact that you're speaking out against Scientology, you could run into some trouble.
Do we know where David Miscavige's wife is? I'm pretty sure hasn't been seen in public. So David Miscavige is the leader. Like he is the head, the highest up.
Well, he's the guy who wrote the novel.
No, that's L. Ron Hubbard. He's dead.
He's dead. David Miscavige is like the president.
He's the guy now.
The current.
His wife has not been seen in public since 2007. I think it's like she has just not been seen.
But she still answers emails. She just sounds a lot more masculine.
Apparently,
now.
it's just like she doesn't go out in public anymore. But there's like speculation that
she's worried about COVID, man. She's been worried since 2007, dude.
Free Britney style, wear a yellow shirt if you're being held.
You know what though? I will say, I think if you were walking down the street and a gaggle of Scientologists was coming at you, that would be more threatening than a group
of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yes. They do all dress the same, but. I mean,
I have known
Jehovah's
seem like
Witnesses.
I've never known a Scientologist.
Yeah, fair. But back to what I'm saying, though. So you guys, we were all on board with that initial kind of argument towards Scientology I was making. Mm-hmm. The flip side of that is, and it kind of popped into my head right as I first started the thought, and I did this. People that are listening don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing like a telepathic
You're touching
thing.
Your fingers to your temples.
So I do think that Jehovah's Witnesses, old school, they'll probably get to the point where they're they're ready to get down and dirty. Like they're ready to
put them in a position where they have to be up against Scientologists.
Take off their collars and let's roll up our white button. Well, they wear short sleeves a lot of times. So, but get your sleeves up. Roll them up and just start throwing haymakers.
When we're pitting these groups against each other, is this like who would win in a fight?
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so it is like a brawl.
Yes.
Oh, we're talking.
So that that changes.
I totally forgot about that.
That changes my answer a little bit. I felt like If it had to be one religion over the other, I'd say it's probably science. Like it's like it's what one will last.
Yeah.
But if it's like a physical brawl,
yeah,
I might pick Jehovah's Witnesses.
So, but let me say this. So that's why I brought up the point about Scientologists like working outside of the law a little bit. You know what I mean? Because there's definitely some sketchy stuff going on there. But I do feel like they are crazy. I guess I'll use the word crazy. Like involved in this, whole idea that aliens live in their brains and stuff like that, to the point where they probably think like, oh, we can just like.
I feel like if it's like a
Matrix,
brawl, like a war, I would use the Revolutionary War as an analogy. I would put the British as Scientologists. Like they're the more like strategic ones. Like they're going to be working behind closed
technology,
doors. And the Americans, the colonists, are the Jehovah's Witnesses.
The colonists,
so like they're just
going
to be guerrillas, like guerrilla warfare. They're just going to be like oh, we're going to work behind closed doors. We're persistent enough that we're just going to pound you to death.
Yeah.
Jehovah's Witnesses are fighting for a true purpose, right? They're fighting for. Because they witnessed Jehovah.
They're bystanders. They're not even involved in the fight. So
whereas Scientologists, there's speculation that a lot of that is about money and power.
Once you get to a certain point, but if you are lower on the Scientology ladder and you have fully consumed the Kool-Aid, so to speak, I think that going into this battle, if you let a full radical Scientologist off the chain, they're going to attack in a very animalistic style, very manic way, and at first, perhaps Jehovah's Witnesses might be thrown off by that a little. I don't think for long, because again, I think that part of the traditional religion, like fire and brimstone type thing, they would kind of be like, this is what we trained for, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, and this is time to defend.
Topped with, we really can't say it enough, the persistent. You can't keep a Jehovah's Witness down, man.
No.
They're going to come back every time.
In my extensive research that I just did a few minutes ago on my phone, I did look up, Jehovah's Witnesses aren't pacifists. It says they're neutral because they're supposed to be like the good Christian, good Christian values. So I feel like they're not really inclined to fight anyway, but they're not necessarily opposed.
But as we know, in the situation of a religious war, there's bloodshed to be had.
As we know, though, all Scientologists are trained in Krav Maga. That is part of the belief of Scientology. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was like, wait a minute. That could change things. So, my last... I mean, if you got a group of people trained in Krav Maga going up against Jehovah's Witnesses, shit might get out of hand.
Maybe that's an idea for them to consider.
They probably already wrote it down. Yeah, they do listen to this. Yeah, they do listen to this podcast.
Yeah, they do. Tom Cruise's.
So, this might be wrong, but we've had a conversation about Scientology on this show before. And correct me if I'm wrong, but like, if you're higher in the ranks in Scientology, you don't have aliens in your brain.
Well, it's very difficult to be completely
alien
free. Yeah. So
but
I don't know if any of them are.
But I feel like if you're, a lower level, you have a lot of aliens in your head.
These power structures are so like innate that as you get higher up in the chain, like spiritually you lose these aliens. Like that is.
So I guess like the idea behind it is that like all of like the bad things that happen to you and bad thoughts and all the bad things in life stem from you have too many like aliens in your brain, and you have to get them out of there, and you do that.
Don't they think that like after you die, your like soul hops a star, and like you like
that sounds right. I can't remember what they.
Have you ever watched the show Community?
Situation is.
I've seen a couple episodes.
Okay, well, the religion that Pierce Hawthorne is in that show is what I think Scientology is.
Laser Lotus, or something. I mean, it might be loosely based
Bible,
on that.
Dianetics, right? That's their And how do you defeat how do you defend the argument that because it is a fact that Dianetics, it was a science fiction book.
What is Dianetics exactly?
That's like their Bible.
The guy who created Scientology, Hubbard or whatever. He wrote a science fiction.
I don't know anything about.
How would a Scientologist? Because I'm sure it happens all the time. Because that's like number one point in refuting it. How as a Scientologist do you defend like your Bible was written as a science fiction book?
Well, I would say that L. Ron Hubbard, if I were a Scientologist in position, I would say obviously L. Ron Hubbard knew that there were going to be people out there who would try to denounce his religion, so he had to put it out there under the guise as science
fiction. They can say, like, this is his method of conveying the information.
Yes, exactly, because the powers that be, the aliens, want him to...
Because it was like it was the 50s.
Word.
You couldn't just break out another Christianity or like another religion. You had to disguise it as a science fiction book.
Now you'd have to make a TikTok account for it. I guess.
Is there? Because I know a lot of religions rely on like victimization. Like, is that part of it? Like it's like Christ,
I don't think
Christ was crucified.
I don't think they were ever persecuted per se, except for the fact that we're slandering them right now.
No, well, but there's they are trying to cure an affliction, right? Because of the aliens in the brain.
Yeah.
So it's more like we're big brain. We know how to like fix all the problems.
Yeah.
You guys are.
We have a method of getting rid of the aliens that you can't see or feel.
And we're all of us are just smooth brain Neanderthals essentially.
Yeah,
I guess so.
They're like enlightened.
Jehovah's Witnesses and Scientologists would most definitely fight. Like if two groups of them ran into each other, they would have
Jehovah's Witnesses are that's a part of Christianity. Yeah. So it's like they believe like the Bible, whereas
like the original, right? That's their whole thing. Is like the original. Like I saw something like Reformationist. It's like the original belief about like Christianity or something like that.
They believe everything. Like they don't, they don't celebrate like Christmas or birthdays or anything like that.
Yeah, they don't do anything fun.
Very strictly religious. And I think it's kind of linked into evangelicalism, right? Which I absolutely despise. Like the super pastors.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta blow out the COVID.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I suppose as much as like any other branch of that religion,
Baptists,
but I don't think specifically.
I feel like Baptists are usually
like the scene
I got
another movie scene to refer that to. Kingsman.
Okay.
Have you ever seen the Kingsman movies? When he goes to the church and Samuel L. Jackson's putting that chip in all the brains, but that pastor, whatever he is going crazy before they decide to start murdering each other.
I remember you already mentioned earlier the Westboro Baptist Church.
Yeah.
I remember watching those guys so much. They used to be like, I used to love watching them so much because I loved to hate them so much.
Oh, yeah.
And just like to see what they were up to next and stuff.
And also, I think...
Oh, shit. You in the part of the show, you guys went, you and Chris went there.
Because when we went to LA the first time, we drove cross country and like made all our stops cross country.
Drive to the 405.
And we stopped in Kansas, and we were like, we have to see the Westboro Baptist Church.
Was that the one?
Yes. And they proudly like put it all over. It wasn't a Sunday, so we didn't get to see like.
You didn't go to mass?
That's a shame.
Oh, you're not allowed. I don't think you're allowed in there unless you're a member. But we didn't get to see any like people there. It was like heavily guarded, obviously. But the best part of it was right across the street. How there's the Pride House and like the Trans Pride House and stuff like that, where it's just like I think it's the best example of like a peaceful protest because it's like they can't do anything about it. You know what I mean? And like they obviously by law can't do anything about the church either.
Yeah.
So it's
freedom
like
of speech, freedom of religion.
Yeah. So it's like we're just gonna turn our house into like some place where everybody can be accepted.
Yeah.
And like they had like flyers and like cards and everything there and Instagram. And then me and Chris signed our names like on the wall because they had just like a wall that had like people's names signed it. So, you got opposite sides of the spectrum right across
complete. And that's kind of what this fight comes down to. To lock it in. Oh, go ahead.
I have a thought, and I'm not talking about. Okay, whatever. So maybe it depends how vicious these people might be based on how vicious their ideologies are. Like I know because like. I don't know, Jehovah's Witnesses are they like super like anti-gay, anti-trans, all that stuff.
Are they? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I think they're more or less just super tradition where it's like I feel like they more or less will just not talk about it.
Yeah.
Rather than like outwardly denounce it.
What about Scientology? What's their stance on like political issues and stuff like that? Because if they have like a lot of like like conspiracy, like Nazi kind of like those.
I've never heard Tom Cruise say a gay slur. So
okay. Well, yeah, because if they align with certain like really like toxic beliefs, then maybe they're more like they'll bite your ear off in a fight.
I feel like out of those two, I feel like a Jehovah's Witness. I mean, again, I could be talking on my ass. I really don't know, but I feel like a Jehovah's Witness might be more likely to denounce.
Something.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, Emily, you're a Jehovah, right?
To lock it in so we can get moving here, I'm going to have to go with Jehovah's Witnesses. I actually thought I was going to go Scientology to start, but I've talked myself into Scientologists being a little bit too off the rails and Jehovah's Witness having a little bit of grit.
I think that's a valid position.
I see where you're coming from.
But I'm gonna go for Scientologist, and I'm not gonna explain myself.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Yeah.
I am. So I'm acknowledging I can go either ways, but I'm leaning towards Scientologists. I mean, I was way Scientologist before, and then it kind of brought me to the other side a little bit. But I think I'm going to lean back to Scientologists just because I feel like overall their strategies would outweigh the traditional style of fighting that the Jehovah's Witnesses
perhaps, but in a fist fight, I think that Scientologists would, typical Scientologists like that would really lose themselves in that moment, and I think a Jehovah's Witness would keep a more level head.
I think it's based on like the good punching. Christian, like they're not. I think they're so concerned with their good Christian values that they're probably not willing to take it far enough in a fight. I
just feel like going to.
I think that's why I'm going.
I don't necessarily think that. I think Jehovah's Witnesses would have more muscle. Like they would be the better fighter. But I would feel like the Scientologists just have something up their sleeve.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going into this fist fight.
Laser guns.
They're going into this fist fight.
Who said
sneakily?
Is this a fair fight?
Yeah,
or is this a street
weapons.
fight?
Well, there's no weapons involved.
No, there's no holds barred.
But they might bite their face.
I'm a Scientologist, right? Yeah. I'm about to fist fight a Jehovah's Witness. I'm scared. I'm going to do something under the table to help me.
Yeah,
a penis pump.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So did you?
No, but you know what? Ryan's point there made me switch to Scientology because I was gonna go Jehovah, but. Yeah, Scientologists, they would definitely fight dirty.
I think
so. And they'd be very good at that. So I'm going to lock in Scientology as well.
I did appreciate the counterpoint.
Hey, it's 3-1.
I think
listen, the best part is that our votes don't matter because Instagram votes for it. So vote on that on our Instagram on Friday. Remember, I keep reminding people, this year, I don't know if you guys know this, at the end of the year, we did the first ever Who Would Win of the Week Tournament of Champions. So for the entire year, 52 contestants.
Something like that.
51, but plus the champion of last year in a bracket-style fight to decide the winner. So you have to put some thought ahead of time into voting on this Instagram poll because that is ultimately who goes on the board come January 31st.
Wow.
And that is my final statement. So make the right choice and vote for Jehovah's Witnesses. That's what I was getting at.
Can I vote right now?
No, it doesn't go up yet.
David also did say that Tim and Eric went to that church that we went to. We did go to church. Went to a mega church once, Mosaic Church in Hollywood, and Tennessee Luke said that. He was like, if you want to meet Tim and Eric, just go to their church. And I was like, okay, Tim and Eric aren't religious, but all right, we'll just follow it. And then, we're going there, and by the time I said, everybody's like, Tim and Eric aren't going to be here.
Yeah, they're like staunch atheists.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, they are not. It's like, I think they might have mentioned as a joke at once that they go to this church. So Tennessee was like, if you want to meet them, we'll just go to Mosaic Church on Sunday. They'll be there. It was a fun experience.
Because I'm an agnostic atheist myself, but it was a fun experience. It was a really good sense of community.
It was one of those
a bunch of college kids there and a lot of very attractive women. So that was a very nice experience.
It was one of those churches where it was less about religion, more about
community being together.
It was a lot of
I did appreciate that
get out of your depression, speak. So
that was pretty cool. I mean, even though it's when they talk about all that stuff, I feel like they could say that without being and God's the reason that you should be but it's
they were doing it with good intentions.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've talked about religion a ton on this show, so we don't need to go into it any further, but a big reason that they do that is because... No, we definitely have.
Yeah, but I mean, we can't always go...
No, we could, but I'm just saying, this specific point is a big reason that they throw that in there at the end a lot of times is because that makes the difference for a lot of people between...
That's their way,
it's believing in it. And, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. It's
a
little extra sliver of hope to convince people to get out of their depression or whatever it may be. Yeah.
If it was just a community organization, they would not get that much membership. They have exactly. It's a selling point. And
what I didn't know,
it's effective. That's good. I would prefer without it, obviously. But
I
mean that's cool.
What I didn't know was how you're supposed to pay the tithe. A tithe, I think it is called. Remember how he said it's like volunteer money for the church, and he said a tithe should be 10% of your salary. So like 10% of your money should go to the church.
Oh.
If I don't even have 10% of my own money.
Yeah, well, he was just
so throwing in a $5 wasn't going to cut it.
It was 10% of your annual income should be going to like the church a year.
Wow.
It's so crazy.
I mean, to them, it's like if religion's everything, it's like for some people, it's like their country's everything. And that's kind of what we do with taxes. It's like we dedicate a lot of our, income to our community.
Taxes suck, though.
Right. So it's like it's like a church tax.
He was like, he threw out the argument. He was like, and you can't say that you can't give anything because you don't have enough money. Because if you say that now, you will never give anything when you do have money.
Yeah, that's a big thing they do is they somehow...
they guilt you into giving money.
Not even that, but they somehow wind it around so that it's like if you give money, that's how you get more money.
Yes.
So if you're poor, you need to give more. If you're poor, you need to give money more than anybody because how else are you going to get more money?
Pay it forward style.
Yes.
Right.
We had a pastor when we were young, when we went to church, that I think dipped out on the church and just like took all the money. I'm pretty sure. I could be slandering his name. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he...
That stuff probably does happen, especially like we were talking earlier with those evangelical like super pastors with like the private jets, and they're like, "You got to give us our money."
Talking about like Joel Osteen.
Joel Osteen, and who's that crazy dude who's like, "Who is blow the COVID away"?
Is that the 700 Club guy?
I don't know.
Pat Robertson?
No.
Is it the guy with like the
Kenny
like,
Copeland?
that
Kenny
guy?
Copeland.
Yeah.
People like him. It's like I hear him try and justify it, and it's funny because they're like, some people are like, well, you have a private jet, but you talk about all this like personal charity and stuff, and he gets like angry. That's his response. He's like, "How dare you defy me? I'm speaking the word of God."
There's a '50s doo-wop song by him.
Sorry, Emily, I'm screaming.
Before he was a
turn
pastor.
him down, Emily. What the hell, man?
There's a song by him before he was a pastor from the '50s.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's called
Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll.
Pledge of Love. And it's like it's a doo-wop song that before he was.
I have to check that out.
It's on my liked song. It's on my liked.
Send it over.
I will.
I want to listen to that.
It's by Ken Copeland. Wow. It's the same guy.
Is he related to Aaron Copeland, composer? Maybe.
No idea.
He did like I forget the something of man. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter. But yeah, no, I wanted to say something else too. Since we're talking about religion and churches, we should tell the music, David's music story.
All right. Yeah. So,
and then I'll add my part after you.
Basically, an agreement with David is like obviously he films for us, so we pay him for his acting. Obviously,
buy him food and shit,
and we also buy him food and like run his errands for him. So the main errand that David likes to do is pass out his church music, and basically that consists of he prints out his church music, and then I drive around and we stop at churches, and then somebody else in the car runs up the music up to the church, and then we go to the next one. No one's ever gotten back to him about it. It's like it's just an empty cycle. This is gonna be the first time I guess I'm gonna be talking about this publicly, but last year
is that okay?
Last year I developed the idea of church clusters. So basically, it got to the point where he was getting like 15, 20 copies of music.
Spent hours.
So you spend like hours driving around for churches. So I was like, and none of them are generating any profit for him.
Yeah.
And so it's all just a peace of mind, Aaron. So it's like, David, why don't we just go to church clusters? And it's like, what's a church cluster? It's like, those are like groups of churches. That's like 4 or 5 different churches that are all right next to each other. So when we go out to church, you can give me like 5 copies at once. We could just knock out 5 in a row. And that has halved and quartered the time that we have to.
And you just leave them all at one church? Or?
Yeah.
What I didn't know about this, first of all, because a lot of the stuff you do, I don't know about that I find out later.
Well, it's because really it's like I'll say it with a serious face because
you're really good at being a deceitful, like manipulative liar. It's amazing.
Can I give you an idea? And this is probably a horrible idea, but you could make an entire different show about what you guys do during the process of making your show.
Yeah,
and it would be damn
have a reality show. We should.
Well,
that's why I said we should have recorded more and more.
The thing is I almost
God.
You could almost put it out not as a reality show. Mm-hmm. To you guys, it's reality, but to the rest of the world, they're thinking like, "There's no way this guy just believed him that he said they're just going to go to church clusters."
So
or even use his experiences to write like a fictional.
One time we got caught last year. In a sense,
church clustering.
So me and Chris were on the beach, and we received a text from David saying he got a call. Sometimes we go to these churches and they're not even churches anymore, so we'll just leave them at whatever building it is. And one time we got a call, or we got a text from David. He got a call from a preschool saying that 3 of his musics were like randomly left at their doorstep, and they're wondering why they were there. And so David like called us and he was like what do you know? Like, how'd this happen?
Oh, this is so dumb.
And this was it. This was during the saga where he was convinced that ghosts were moving his meat.
Now, when you say meat,
like meat from his,
like single slices of deli meat,
just meat in his fridge.
Okay.
They were like ghosts were moving his meat on like around the house. Mm-hmm. So he's like, "Do you know about this?" We're like, we just had to think fast. We're like, David, I think it's the same ghosts.
I know. I have the same reaction.
I almost fell out of my chair.
Yeah.
And
like so, that's an episode right there. That's a whole episode.
So brainless.
And it worked.
Yeah, of course. I mean, of course it did.
So it's like,
because
you got to realize, everybody listening, you got to realize we're doing these for the best intentions. It's like it's
to keep not only him but everybody else safe.
I don't ever intend to hurt David's feelings. I actually do a lot so I don't hurt his feelings. I try to make sure he's as happy as it can be. But a lot of his requests are just they don't mean anything, and really, the end goal is that he has peace of mind that something's actually going his way.
Because
as it treats an anxiety that we're talking about.
And as much as like some people, because I had this,
because I feel like a lot of what we're talking about could be seen as like we're taking advantage of this guy, but it's like
it's the exact opposite, and this is why I say that in my mind, at least. This might just be to make you guys feel better. I don't know, but it's almost like, and I don't know, but I had the thought like, oh man, like what does he do when you guys aren't there shooting? But then that thought flips on me and was like, as much as it might seem like, everything is difficult for him when you guys are there shooting because there's so much to do, it's probably like the best time he has all year.
He has told us that when we are there, it is like the highlight.
Oh yeah, that's
because
he
just is not doing anything when we're not there. He's just kind of like, he's
going to the pier.
He is vocal about the fact that he doesn't have any friends and stuff like that.
He hasn't had sex since 1994.
Hasn't had sex since 1994.
I was surprised at how much he actually ended up saying that. He says it a lot.
He says a lot. No,
that's the thing. It
comes back to the thing where he just repeats things.
Oh, got it. Okay.
It's like a way of dealing with his trauma.
Right. It's a compulsion. It's a literal compulsion.
My favorite part with David on the trip was showing him season 1 because he had not seen it, because he has no way of seeing it. It's like, he doesn't know how to operate the internet.
Like, I had to fix his TV. Like,
so
the first day we went
we showed him it, and he was like laughing the whole way through. And he looked at me and he said, obviously he can just be saying it because I'm right here, but he was like, "That was better than Tim and Eric." And I was like, so I was like, that felt pretty good.
Yeah, you take
because
that.
It was all about him.
Yeah, exactly. No, he was like, you use me way more than Tim and Eric do. You should, you should do more of this. It's
right. He appreciates
That's why we're here, David. Yeah.
He's voiced his concern a lot with Tim and Eric that he feels like he's being like discarded by them.
But they all feel that a little bit.
They have
all said a similar thing where it's just like,
well, that's
they've all kind of thrown him to the side, like Tim and Eric, because like they went on to become the big stars that they are, and each one, even Sire, was kind of saying like, Tim and Eric, they forgot about us. Really cool that like you guys are trying to do like bring us back too with it. So it's like that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And going back to David too with his, because like obviously like Ryan said, it's like
just interesting,
kind of like even like technically it's like lying or whatever, but like the way it's like we treat him like kind of like just to give him that peace of mind. I think that's obviously good for his anxiety, but I try to take like a different approach. Obviously, it's like I didn't tolerate him like half the time. Like whenever I felt like Chris didn't either. I know Chris actually like fought with him a bit and they got in arguments.
There was an argument,
but I didn't do it as much. But every time David like tried to like take advantage, like because I like took photos for him and like printed them out at Walgreens and
spent a lot of money on him.
Spent money like doing like favors for him basically. And it's like every time like he was like ungrateful or like being an asshole, I would like kind of put my foot down and be like, look, you can't like say these things. Or it's like when he was like bothering Matt, I'm like, look, David, you he clearly doesn't want help right now. You just have to like let him like be alone, okay?
And then he'll bring up this like, oh, I've been on the planet longer than you. Like I know how this stuff works.
It's like I feel like your approach is good too, but I feel like he also needs like a little bit more of a disciplined approach. Like people have to be strict with him and say like, look, you can't say certain things. You can't like. You have to understand.
Fuck, I can't.
Yeah,
what do you mean I can't?
Exactly.
It helped a lot last summer because that was the summer that I was getting $600 a week for being on unemployment with COVID.
Yeah, right.
So I was a little bit more loose with my money. So like the biggest thing I ever spent on him was he wanted to go to an aquarium, and I said $10. He wanted minnows, $10 to get you something. I don't know what he got, but it came to the register, and I spent $123 on fish for him that just ended up dying.
Oh, yeah, they were definitely dead. Probably pretty quickly.
Well, that was a rule I made at the beginning of this trip. I was like, we are not buying David anything alive ever again.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
and just like
will just die.
At a basic moral principle, just like we don't want to cause harm to another.
Yeah, you can't do that to more fish.
No,
God forbid
he had
something else.
Do you remember he had a moment in the parking lot because he wanted like supplies for his fish tank. Mm-hmm. That was like a thing. And then like we took him to the fish tank. I told him, I was like, I paid you for today. Like this is all coming out of your own credit card. And he was like, fine. So we took him to the aquarium. He ended up spending up like $150, and then like on aquarium stuff. And then he came back in the car and he looks at me and he's like, maybe it's time I stop this hobby. And I'm like,
I didn't see that.
I was like, maybe it's time you do. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Real quick. The other interesting thing about his psychology is his deflection. He likes to like with blaming us for like trashing his apartment. Like he likes to deflect his problems on other people. And I noticed it was like a really weird like with his fish tank. Like he obviously didn't clean it. He didn't care for the fish, and they fucking all died. But like when we gave him a bunch of bottles of like just like water like that, and he'd be like, "You got to bring that water home and put it in a bag because I got to use that for my fish tank, and I got to keep the because that's why the fish die."
Everything. It's like you get him a burger. Well, he says it would really be nice if you added bacon.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's up. But no, the whole point is like. He's like the fish died because I used tap water. I have to use bottled water. And it's like that's not why they died. It's like
right.
and even like Sire James at one point he like told David, he's like, David, just use tap water. He's like, keep that bottled water and drink it. He's like it's not gonna kill the fish. Just use water. I'm like, thank you. It's like clearly he's like David's like, oh no I gotta do it this way.
So
yeah, he deflects a lot of his problems. That's the whole point.
I have one kind of. It'll probably be like I guess my somewhat ending question.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it goes for both of you. The way that you guys started working with him, obscure, really cool, awesome that led to all these experiences, right? But hearing it, and I can see it on Andrew's face too when you're talking about like all these experiences, like how did you initially kind of adjust or realize like this is our life for the next like month? Because like these stories are crazy, they're funny, it's awesome to hear about kind of the relationship you have in a good way with this guy, but then there's also part of it, it's like there was a point where you didn't know him, and you showed up to LA where you guys aren't from, and this is your life, this is your responsibility, you're banking on this. Like what goes through your head when you first start to experience this?
Absolutely.
And how do you get to where you are now?
So I think it was just a personality alignment thing, and I 100% contribute that to Chris, who I went with the first time. Chris is probably, and that was like the main reason I was so excited to have him come with me. Chris is probably like the most easygoing. Like there's not one thing he would like object to. It was just like he was going to come on this trip with me. We weren't even like that good of friends beforehand, but he was just going to like come with me and just go with the flow. He's the most go with the flow guy ever. And David is the most, like, from the first day we met him, was already, like, asking us to do stuff.
Very high.
Like, he had already known us for a long time. And it was kind of just like, yeah, this is going to happen. Because there was that starstruck thing still. That was, like, my motivation, I guess. Yeah. To, like, if it was just, like, some old guy, we would never have done it. But there was this, like, and I was showing Chris, Tim, and Eric at the time. It's like this guy is, like, this is who he is. Like, he wants us to do something. We'll do it for him.
Yeah.
And then after that, like, starstruck kind of wore off, it sort of became, like we had a relationship developed, and, like, this new show was coming out of it. So it was just, like, this is what kind of happened. And at the same time, I never want to take him to a drive-thru ever again.
Yeah. So,
Oh my god.
So, and I have another like point to add because I want you to answer that too.
Yeah.
But now I kind of lost my train of thought. So, did it get to a point though where you're like, if we don't, because at first, as that starstruck sense starts fading away, and you're like, oh shit, man, like we kind of have to deal with this. Is it then a thought of like, you know what, like this can be really good, we can make this work, but we just have to
We'll just like push through it.
Deal with it.
Oh, absolutely. It's the strongest with David.
Yeah.
Like the rest of them, it's like I enjoy my time, like for the most part. But it's like a lot of times feeling with David, it's just like we're getting good content out of this. Can't wait till we drop you back home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know for me, it's like I wasn't involved in the first season at all. It was all these guys.
Yeah.
So I knew that they were like his temporary caretakers, and they would deal with him, and I wouldn't have to really put up with him much, especially because for some reason I was very bitter and like I did not want to tolerate this man. And I know I definitely used very unhealthy coping mechanisms to deal with that. I would just buy a bunch of candy and stress eat. It was very those sweethearts. Oh my god, with
banana flavored Laffy Taffies.
Those are good, but no, like the ones with the little messages for Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
I bought like bags this big, like 5 of those bags, and just pounded them.
Those are good.
But I know the best thing I did is I got these AirPods. Oh, I don't have them. Damn. Well, I got AirPod Pros, and I put those in every time David spoke or I was in the car and just like blasted music. I put on noise cancellation. I'm like, I'm just not going to deal with it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like at the same time I had the thought like, oh, I might just like argue with him or yell at him or blow up.
Then you quickly realize that's not going anywhere.
Right. And it's like, I don't want to sabotage it for you and your show.
Every single person that went had a different way
of kind of learning.
Josh was always the best with it because he would laugh every time. Like he found, like we saw David's apartment, he started laughing when he saw Michael Q. Schmidt naked and jacking off the first time. He started laughing, and it was like, Josh, what's up? And he was like, dude, I think you were serious. Yeah. I was like, how many times are you going to say that this trip?
Yeah,
we were
probably every day.
Yeah. I can only imagine. I mean, even sitting here having this full conversation with you guys about it, having watched the show, I can't even fathom witnessing these things in person.
Now picture this, and this all goes back to that fucking 4.5-hour car ride to Death Valley. Matt, on the way back especially, Matt and Josh loved to instigate him. They would keep... Josh was...
tell that about Matt. He seems like he really excels in that space.
But the last day, Josh was relentless with David.
I think because Josh had enough. Josh was like
he did what I thought I would do.
He was like relentlessly instigating, but like David was almost he was like kind of fighting back, but it was like this thing. It was like this weird thing because Josh is also black.
Yeah.
That like David had like a.
It was like
he felt like he had to have a connection with him.
Yeah.
On a different level. So it was just like he was like Josh was kind of just like roasting him, and then David was just like, "But it's okay, you're my brother." And like stuff like that.
But also David, like it like surprised me because we did like a little podcast.
We called him Mr. Brooks because he's from Brooklyn.
Yeah, Mr. Brooks. Gotcha. But on the ride back, we recorded the whole conversation, like an hour and a half of it. And David at several points was like, "Josh, you're being really disrespectful to me. I really don't. I'm your elder, and you shouldn't talk to me like this." Like he was like getting upset at some points.
Yeah.
Because Josh was like.
I sort of wish we let it go on longer because the more you're talking later that night, the more. More heart, wholesome it got. Yeah. But a lot of that podcast is kind of an arguing session.
Oh my god, yeah. And it's and the funniest thing is like we would be like, okay, like what's your kink? And then like someone would answer, and then David would be like, well, no, I think I really like Japanese girls because and he just like goes on for like an hour. Yeah. And then like I kept saying over and over again, Chris, what's your kink? And then like David would like talk for. Hey Chris, what's your kink? And I just like kept trying to like circle back to the conversation, but David just like he derails it so hard. And he loves to talk about sex though. And for being like a really staunch like Christian, it's very interesting how like porn.
For being a very like Christian, he's also
very against alcohol.
For being a homophobe, he's also a little gay.
Yes.
And for being very anti-racist, he's also a little racist.
Oh yeah, he talks a lot about how he hates like Mexicans and like
race seems like a big thing for that guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and for being super religious, he's like very against alcohol, very against smoking, very against drugs in any capacity. And like even like Chris instigated really bad the one time. He was like, yeah, I lost my wallet. And Dave was like, "Oh, well, that's because you were drinking. You had a beer."
No, because the night that we were having that party, I was trying not to let it slip that we were going to be like drinking at this party, because I knew the second that David heard that was going to be used against us. The whole Death Valley ride. It's like something happens. It's like, oh, that's because you guys were drunk last night.
Yep.
Like,
and then Chris just made up shit. He was just like, yeah, well, I went to Compton actually, and I got robbed, and someone punched me in the face. And then David blew up. He's like, you're not supposed to go to Compton. There's black people there, and they're gonna rob you, and they're gonna steal. And I'm like, who is this fucking guy? It's like I have there's no consistent belief.
That is the ultimate question, Kyle, and that is what has wrinkled my brain for the all this week.
I think it's
smoothened out your
that
brain.
Might actually that maybe that's more accurate. But I mean, I told you before, I had watching this and hearing these stories, I have such a profound new respect for both of you guys for having to deal with this just to make this show.
We're emotionally traumatized veterans,
and because it is a great show, and you're just I mean, I'm praying that this is the worst experience you guys have in your career, like dealing with something like this.
In a way, and in a way, it's like the best.
Yeah,
we're going to like wherever we end up, we're gonna look back at this and be like, "Do you remember that time?"
Yeah, because remember our Toronto trip? It was like, "Oh, remember when we just like hung out with these random people at a bar in their apartment and people did coke and like
we talked about that for months."
Yeah, now it's like, "Oh, I pumped a man's penis."
If cocaine is a gateway drug to penis pumping.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, just to clarify, I did not do cocaine in Toronto, but other people did.
Being around cocaine, that's enough.
There's like, if somebody sat here, anybody who sits and listens to this show, if their instant reaction isn't to go watch your show, I don't know what they were doing to keep them so preoccupied while this was also playing in the background.
And I'm very excited for season 2, because if you like season 1, you're gonna love season 2, because season 2 already seems like the production value like bumped up. There's more actors, there's more craziness, there's a story, and even like you released the teaser recently for season 2. Mm-hmm. It's like a 6-minute like skit. It's really fucking funny. Like I actually cackled. But it's so ridiculous.
I appreciate that.
It's really good. So if you haven't seen it, check out that teaser too.
I was gonna say, so where can people find the show? Where can people watch the teasers? All your content.
YouTube.com, Blatto Productions. That is my high school production company name. I had to come up with something. I had to just use something I've used before. So Blatto Productions on YouTube. That's really it. We have a TikTok for it now. Chris is in charge of that.
Yeah.
We have
check out Tennessee Luke TikTok.
Yeah.
He'll call me sometimes and be like, "Hey, Kyle, can you come on TikTok and be my moderator? I'm gonna play some pool for an hour."
That's a good impression.
Oh, thank you.
That was good.
Oh, thank you.
I want a couple things to like. Yeah, if you can get anything from this podcast, is like, one, like, you know. I know I'm very, very fortunate to be working around these people, and like, you know, I wish nothing but the best for them. Mm-hmm. And you know, it's been an experience, and I hope it can only get better. And I hope that all you listening would give it a shot.
Yeah. And for this promotion, check out David Liebe Hart Show on TikTok. Check out Blatto Productions. Check out Tennessee Luke on TikTok. And I want to add, he blew up on TikTok while we were in LA.
There's a video on TikTok. It's Kyle's feet.
It's my feet, my bare feet, on the Quentin Tarantino star at the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He posted on TikTok. He had 86 followers that day. Got like 2,700, I think.
Holy
but
shit.
That video has almost 400,000 views.
Yeah, I'm gonna
see
how
of my
much
bare
now.
toes, which is pretty cool.
So
my feet are.
That's flattering.
It's Tennessee Luke's like TikTok, and
which is just Tennessee Luke.
Yes.
Yeah, just Tennessee Luke, and he goes live a lot and plays pool.
Does he ever use his training aid?
I think he has once.
No, it's not. That's
he pinned it at the top of his page. But also, I do want to add, if you do want to look at TikTok, I'm on TikTok.
Yes.
Kyle Can Dance. If you like politics and you like random comedy videos, that's me. Go on TikTok. Kyle Can Dance.
And it has
Can I get a peek of it?
Yeah, it's the pinned video. I assume that's Tennessee Luke as a child too. I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, he posted child pictures. It's really cute.
That's just all it is.
That's all it is. And it has almost 400,000 views.
That's just like, well, look at that. Do anything for fame. But
and I sent you the screenshot. It
Wait,
ended
what's
up
it
on
say? How many views is that actually?
400,000. But I sent you that screenshot, didn't I not? Of the screenshot of your feet ended up on an Instagram account that had millions of followers.
No, I didn't see that.
Literally I put it in a group chat.
Oh, that horrid group chat that you added me to.
No, it's another one.
Oh, okay.
Man, that's such a cool thing to do, though. Just put your bare feet on
Nick-
Tarantino's
yeah.
style like that.
Nick Dory sent it to me. It's on Fuck Advertisements.
Oh shit, that's a huge Instagram
Really?
account. That's one of the most famous accounts.
Yeah,
on
and those are
Instagram.
your feet.
Those
You
are my
should-
toes.
Yeah.
Oh, I should demand money.
Yeah, you
for
should.
those feet pics.
That's what I mean.
This is
Yeah, like you
quotation.
go on I've never heard of Fuck Advertisements, but
Oh,
yeah.
I should have painted my
Holy shit.
toes.
Wow, man.
Oh my god. Wow. Let me see. Are my feet looking okay? Oh, they're looking clean.
Read some comments for us. Read some comments
Oh
for us.
shit.
Stinky feet. No. Standing barefoot in Hollywood Boulevard is brave as fuck. Just out there raw dogging Hollywood. You know what? Matt Licht, the Julianne Moore star.
Yeah.
Oh,
He said he'd
dude.
do it if we found it, so I found a location and took him to it.
We all had a pretty reprehensible reaction to at least one of the stars, I think. Mine was pretty bad.
Jesus Christ. They've all got shit on them.
Yeah. You can take this part out, but
Whoa.
We'll just wrap.
Yeah,
We'll just
we'll wrap it up.
Whoa,
Yeah.
Hold on, there's slander. There's slander. Someone says this is true. Those are my feet. Yo, those are my
Somebody's
feet.
trying to stolen valor.
technically that's libel.
Stolen
Yeah.
valor.
Because it's written right.
Yep.
Libel.
Right. You know what? I'm glad we put that part.
No! Someone responded and said I can vouch. What is this libel?
Guys,
I'm gonna off myself in Minecraft.
thank you guys so much for
Thank
coming
you for
on.
I was this was
we
so
gotta
fun.
hunt those
I'm sorry.
people down.
I'm
This
triggered
was
that.
so fun.
Oh, dude, we could listen to those stories probably infinitely. Because I know that we didn't even get through.
Yeah, I
a
didn't even
20th.
talk about my colonoscopy. I kept the hospital tag on and everything.
Oh fuck!
Just to
I
prove-
knew you weren't joking when you said that.
Yeah.
I was like, Kyle literally is gonna have a colonoscopy, and he's gonna bring that shit if I ask him to.
Thank you both so much. I love hearing myself talk, so this was a great
Oh, yeah, me too.
opportunity too, especially since I could hear it in my
Yeah,
ears.
it's the best,
Oh,
isn't
so-
it? Yeah,
my ego is stroked so very, very nicely. It's my I might even add my ego has been penis pumped.
yeah.
There you go.
Full circle.
To bring it
They
back.
call
Matt
that
Matt
full
was the best
circle.
pump.
Seriously,
Matt was the best
Yeah,
pump.
thank you guys.
it was awesome.
Oh, let's get out of here.
Andy, I love you.
I love you
Go
too.
get some drinks.
So we're
go.
regulars.
Yes.
Every week we're gonna be out.
Yep.
Okay, great.